So we're currently driving on our way to McMinnville High School, where we have several Ayusa High School participants with us, and we're going to meet a few school administrators and a few of our students. So yeah, it's looking to be a great day to see the campus, to get a feel for what our students do on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, really excited.
My name is Dennis. I'm the CEO of Intrax, a company specializing in cultural exchange programs. There's only so much I can learn from the office. Join me as I hit the road to talk to people across the country who participate in our cultural exchange programs and learn more about their experiences. McMinnville. This lovely Oregon town in Yamhill County is known for its wine country, aviation museum, and its UFO Fest. I'm here today to visit McMinnville High School and hear more about our Ayusa Student Exchange program. Ayusa Exchange students come from all over the world to experience a year as a high school exchange student in America, living with an American family. I'm excited to speak to staff, students, and anyone else involved in the student exchange program.
Hi Roseanne, good morning.
Hey.
Thank you so much for inviting us into your school. We're so excited to learn more about your school and your students. Can you give us a little tour of campus?
Sure, I would love to. Let's maybe head down to the library.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Roseanne is the McMinnville School Registrar. As we're making our way to the library, she was telling me all about the school's impressive programs: woodworking, welding, robotics, and culinary arts. This school is amazing.
Our library used to be inside here with closed doors. And so when they did the new addition, they made it an open library. And so now the kids it's like a bookstore, coffee filling.
Right.
And so most of the kids hang out here, a lot of the exchange students with the club members.
It's so inviting, so much light and just the openness. And
Yes. And even, so all the flags, I had some too, but our librarian, he had collected flags from clear back when we started exchange students a long time ago. And then he wanted them to hang them all up when we did this. So now we kind of add some different ones as the kids come in from different countries.
How did you first hear about cultural exchange or high school exchange?
So I've been working here for 21 years, and a few years into it, a colleague of mine said, hey, the club advisor is retiring. Do you want to do this? So we were going to be a joint team, and so I said, yes, that sounds great. And the next year, she didn't come back to this job, but I did, and I took it on. So, and being with the registrar, it really is nice because I am the first person they meet when they come to register for school, make their classes. And so anyway, it was a great combination. And so anyway, yeah. And so I just brought it in and made it bigger. So.
And in those 23 years, how many exchange students have you had here at McMinnville High?
265 and 56 different countries. So we've had quite a few.
What is the typical year? Like how many exchange students will you have in 1 year?
Yes, I've had up to 17, which is a little bit too many, but it's hard to say no, and I know that they'll have a good experience here. We used to only take 8, and then my principal was like, why don't we take more? You have such a good thing going, let's take more exchange students. So then we started doing it at 12, 14, and my highest number was 17, so.
And tell us a little bit about some of the countries that, how about this year, the exchange students in this year's school year?
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about some of the countries that they're from.
Sure. I've got Kosovo, we had Kuwait, we've got 2 from Chile, We always have several from Germany. We've got one from Kyrgyzstan, which those are some different countries that I haven't had. And every year I try to see if we can get even a country or two that we haven't had, and we usually get that. We always get, you know, the European ones in Italy, and but it's fun to get from Denmark, Norway, and so anyway, we get quite a few from everywhere.
I learned that one of the community representatives, Hope Walter, was currently volunteering in the school resource room today. A community representative plays a vital role by bridging the gap between host families and exchange students. I'd figured I'd walk over and say hi. Hi, Hope.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Yes. It's so exciting to be here in your own hometown and your home high school.
Well, thanks for coming to McMinnville and the high school and taking a look at our resource room here.
Yeah, I'm super excited also. We're going to get the chance to meet some of your host families and other students at Belknap. Do you want to share with us a little bit about the plans for that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're about ready to do our re-entry orientation, and that's getting the kids prepared and ready to go home for the year after they've been here for 10 months. And so we're going to take a trip about 2 hours south of where we are now, go down to Belknap Hot Springs. It's a hot springs that they've enclosed into a pool. And it's a resort that people go and stay at. We are renting 3 of the houses there, and we're going to take a hike to the Blue Pool, and we'll hang out in the hot tubs and the hot springs, of course. And we also do a reorientation where we just start to talk to them about preparing to go home, that difficulty, some of the challenges that other students have faced during that time. And then we just spend a lot of time eating and hanging out and playing games and having fun and having them connect with one another, because when they go home, they're going to rely on each other a whole lot more because somebody's walking the same path that they are. So that's what we really try to focus on, is giving them time to bond together, and then also giving them time to reflect on their year. And for some of them, they only have 3 or 4 weeks left. Some of them have about 6. So we also focus on, what do you want to do in these next couple of weeks to really make your time impactful, because this is the time of the year that it goes really, really fast, and some of them get a little overwhelmed.
And is Belknap, like, how long have you been doing it? How did the idea even come up?
Well, this is only the second year we've been doing it, because we took a couple years off because of the pandemic. But I wanted to take them somewhere, and I wanted them to get an experience where they could spend the night. It wasn't too expensive because we're on a budget, and we were able to find this place that had reasonable lodging for large numbers of people for a couple of days. And I have some amazing volunteers that were like, yes, absolutely, we'll take these kids down. We'll do these things. And so we went last year, and every one of my kids that went said it was the most impactful part of their experience. And after we had done it, they had said, please don't just do this. Can you do something in the beginning of the year so we have time to connect and spend time together? So now, in the beginning of the year, we do a service project. We go and do a beach cleanup. We spend the night. We do our arrival orientation. And then when we leave, in May, we do this end of the year. And so they have 2 nights together, which is pretty great.
I really want to hear from some of our students to see how excited they are to go on this amazing trip. Have you done much traveling, like in Oregon area?
Yeah, I've done a bit traveling. My host family and I, we've done traveling in Idaho, California. We went to Nevada in spring break, which was a lot of fun. And we also went to Washington a couple of times.
Wow, a lot of traveling there.
Yes.
Nice. And what was your favorite trip so far?
I think my favorite trip was traveling to Nevada when we went to Las Vegas for spring break. And it was a long road trip, but it was a lot of fun.
And are you excited about this trip we're going on?
Yes, I am. A lot of expectations, and I'm excited.
All right. Have you done much traveling around here?
Not much, but they said there is going to be a hike, so I'm excited about it.
All right, do you like hiking?
Yeah, I love it.
All right, we'll see you on the trip.
Thank you.
Can you give us some examples of some ways maybe the exchange students have shared their culture, whether through events or and vice versa too, how natives to McMinnville have shared their culture with the exchange students?
Sure. So my favorite activity that we do is a cultural potluck. We do this along with Easter. We have a great big Easter egg hunt with about 1,000 eggs we hide. But anyway, it's so awesome that I asked them all to bring their own country's dish, including our club. They can bring any dish from home that they also feel like they want to share with exchange students. And tastes are so different, and it's the best potluck you'll ever come to because there's different flavors from all over the world, and you get to take a bite of each.
In all of your years here, is there a particular exchange student or memory of one or some that stand out?
You know, I had a girl from Brazil, and her name's Elena, and she was just quite homesick. So that ended up with her in my office more than most exchange students. And we worked through it, and she finished her year. I think she even had to change of family because of the situation, but because of that connection and that kind of hard time, her and I became really close because of that. And so sometimes I always tell the kids I'm their school mom here. Whatever they need really with anything with school, they can come and see me, and I'll definitely help them work through that. And so usually that works out really good, and some of those are the ones that I am the closest to. But now she's gone to Brazil, back home, and she runs her own business, and it's fun to see that. Go ahead this way, and I'll show you some other things. But, well, here is my club president.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Dennis.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is Vivo, and she is the president this year. And she's been in the club for 3 years,
Yeah.
Right, and been an officer and now the president. So anyway, yeah, it's been fun. Yeah.
So what do you do as part of the International Club?
We lead the meetings, so that's just like making sure all the stuff goes smoothly and also running the ticket station. I also run the Instagram page. That one's a pretty big job, but someone's got to tell the international kids, hey, we have a meeting today, or hey, it's so-and-so's birthday.
What kind of events do you guys put on?
A bunch of different ones. So we have our potluck. We have a lot of parties as well. The Halloween party, that one's also pretty fun. We get to run in the hallways, which, I mean, what kid doesn't want to do that? We also do like
Field trips too.
field trips, yeah. Ice skating, mall trip. Mall trip's one of the classic ones.
And so what interested you to participate in the International Club?
It's kind of a funny story. My best friend was actually in the club, and then she was like, hey, I'm joining this club. And I was like, okay, I'll come join too. And so I joined it, and it was really, really fun to just learn about the exchange students. So I stayed, and I kept helping, and so it's been fun.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all these great stories, and we're really excited at how vested you guys are in cultural exchange.
Great. McMinnville is a great place. And you ought to meet with our mayor, because I hear also that she is interested about cultural exchange and probably even really wants to know what we're doing here too. So I hope that you get to go and visit with her since you're here.
Sounds great.
We left McMinnville High and headed into the wine country. We made our way to Three Wives Vineyard, home of Remy Wines, owned by Mayor Remy Drabkin.
Hey, Remy.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Hi.
Nice
So
to see
meet
you. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
These grounds are absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Welcome to the Three Wives Vineyard.
Thank you so much. So I'd love the opportunity to sit down and chat with you.
Yeah, let's go to the front porch.
All right.
Okay, great. I've actually lived the majority of my life in McMinnville. Although I've lived elsewhere as well, I kept being drawn back here, and Now I've been back since 2003, which is a minute ago at this point. Obviously, my business is here, and as mayor, I'm fairly established. In town. But yeah, I grew up here. It was a small community, actually significantly smaller than it is now. The city has grown, the community has grown a lot in the last 20 years. The population's almost doubled in the last 20 years. So it's a very different town than the town that I grew up in, but there's a lot of sentiment and feeling about it that feels very much the same.
I heard you have a particular personal experience actually traveling overseas and studying abroad, and
yeah,
I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
I was fortunate to travel to France for a few weeks as a high school student, and I had already been really drawn to that idea of travel. My brother actually did a year-long international exchange, and we hosted a lot of exchange students in my house when I was growing up. We almost always had an exchange student the years that my brother was in high school. And then I had some opportunity to travel, and then I finished high school early, and then I traveled internationally as well and spent a considerable amount of time in Israel and also time in France studying in both those places. So not directly through high school, but still in a field of study. So did an intensive Hebrew course on a kibbutz in Israel, and then studied winemaking in France.
So our organization actually has a number of exchange students currently at McMinnville High, and we just went to go visit them earlier today. So I also heard that you went to McMinnville High. Can you share with us a fond memory?
You know, it's so interesting because I'm so used to talking about being queer in high school. I go back and talk to the GSAs, and actually I just met with a German exchange program about 3 weeks ago. But often when I'm going back to the schools, they really want to dig in on equity work and being queer in high school. So that's where a lot of my attention is focused. But I will tell you, and maybe it's not a departure from that one experience that I had that was very impactful my entire life and maybe really helped set my course was actually born out of tragedy. And so I had a close friend. There weren't very many of us that were out in high school. I could count on one hand the number of kids in a school of 1,500 that were out. And one of my closest friends, she took her life, and it was because of how she was treated for being out and gay. What came out of that, though, was a very close working relationship with my high school counselor, and then she involved the Linfield student body and found somebody to come over, a student that was at Linfield, to help us establish a GSA, which at the time meant Gay Straight Alliance. That is not what that acronym means anymore, but it still has the same intent. And so we established kind of the first club or support group for queer kids and created a safe space for that. And I did that before I left high school, and I think it kind of lends into these other things of gathering community and helping community find one another, and I do that through kind of all of the other facets of my life now. I mentioned earlier when I was in high school that there was a very robust exchange program that happened, and that reverberated through the entire community. What I've seen happen over the last couple years as exchange programs have restarted is that we have that same thing happening. We have that same cultural exchange that's starting to happen, and it doesn't live at the high school alone. It goes out into the community and into community culture, and so it's very important. And we have so much to learn from one another. It helps us not be a myopic community as well.
Thank you so very much for your time and hosting us on your beautiful grounds and
Pleasure.
And your winery, and looking forward to seeing where you go next.
Yeah, I love it. And can I set you up inside for some tasting?
Yes,
Get
absolutely.
out of the cold?
Let's do it.
Okay.
What a day it's been here in McMinnville, from the bustling halls of McMinnville High with Roseanne and Hope to the serene beauty of Remy's Vineyard. Remy's poignant reflections on friendship and resilience, as well as Roseanne's story of support and guidance, is a reminder of what's at the heart of programs like Student Exchange: connection.